This key hip flexor restriction could be the reason for your back pain. Many individuals with back pain don't understand that the hips could be the root of their problems. Your hips and your low back work together, and if your hips are restricted, your lower back has to work overtime. And then you get back pain. But don't worry, my name is Dr. Grant Elliott, and we have helped thousands with back pain and sciatica fully recover through our one-on-one online program. And in this video, I'm going to teach you 1 key hip flexor fix and then 3 hip flexor strengthening exercises to ensure your back pain never comes back. Now, this hip flexor mobilization exercise I'm about to show you is so important because many individuals don't understand that they're only stretching their hip flexor in one way a majority of the time. Most individuals just resort to their classic couch stretch or just simply lunging into the normal hip flexor stretch where they're only getting one motion and they expect their back pain to disappear, but it doesn't. It doesn't last and you're tired of it. So this hip flexor stretch in this hip mobilization movement is called the triplanar hip mobilization. What does that mean? It means 3 planes of motion. We're going to restore your hip flexor and hip motion in all the ranges it needs to actually get the job done the right way. So you're going to get in a typical hip flexor position, a lunge type position, and we're going to start with the foot right out in front of us, lunging into it to achieve a normal hip flexor stretch. But here is where the key comes into play. You're going to take that front foot and now you're going to move it to the side at a 45-degree angle, and you're going to lunge into the direction of the foot. So now the rear leg, the leg you're targeting, is not just going straight behind you, it is going backwards and out in a 45-degree diagonal direction. This is starting to mobilize your hip flexor in a different way, mobilize your hip joint in a different way, and mobilize other muscles on your front and inner thigh in a way that we do not achieve frequently. Now you're going to take that front foot and you're going to move it one more time from a 45-degree angle now to a 90-degree angle. So you're going to step straight out to the side with the toes pointing away from you and you're going to lunge into that again. Now you are taking that rear leg straight into abduction. The hip is abducting, it is going outwards, and now you are successfully targeting a range of motion you do not take your hip through frequently and starting to target those adductors that are on the inside of your thigh that are commonly tight and restricted as well. Now simply move the foot back to the 45-degree, lunge into it, and then back straight ahead, lunging again, alternating through each of these 3 motions back and forth to achieve sufficient mobilization in all 3 directions to restore these key restrictions into your hip that you have been missing. This will effectively restore many degrees of hip range of motion that you've been lacking that has been causing your back pain to persist, because when our hips are restricted, it's like we're walking around in really tight jeans that don't let us move properly. And then when we try to go pick things off the ground or do motions that involve our back and our hips are not supporting, our back has to move more, stress more, bend more, and do things that it doesn't like to do right now. So you will notice immediate hip freedom and low back relief just from this key mobilization. Now, how do we change the function of your hip flexors to achieve this change for life? We need to now strengthen your hip flexors, load your hip flexors so that we get long-term adaptive changes within the muscle in the joint itself. And I'm going to show you 3 ways to strengthen your hip flexor right now, regardless of if you have equipment or none. Hey, real quick, if you're watching this video and you're resonating with the things that I'm saying and you're ready to be pain-free, just click the link below and you can schedule a call personally with my team so we can meet with you, go over your current situation and figure out what you're missing and help you develop a game plan so that you can finally become pain-free. This is for serious people only, so click the link if you are ready to go. Back to the show. The first simple way we can strengthen our hip flexor is to lay on your back, grab a band, anchor the band around anything, scoot away from the band, hook it around your foot, and perform a hip flexor raise while laying flat on your back. This is a great way to start if you are not used to hip flexor strengthening exercises because you can start very low. It doesn't require any balance. You just lay on your back and raise that knee to your chest while the band is pulling your foot down, and of course, you are resisting the tension. This is a great introduction to hip flexor strengthening movements that is still highly effective. And a pro tip, I advise you push your lower back into the floor as you do this motion for better core and hip engagement. Second, if you don't have a band, you can simply do this standing. You can grab a kettlebell or any weight that you're able to hook around your foot for that matter, and you can simply stand still and you can hook a kettlebell or weight around your foot and raise that knee straight to the ceiling as high as you are able to go repetitively. You can of course hold onto a wall if you need to support yourself for balance, but this is also going to strengthen that hip flexor, something I guarantee you are not doing enough. Now lastly, let's pretend like you don't have any equipment at all. One very tough but incredible way that you can improve your hip flexor strength and hip function as a whole is our seated leg lift. You're going to sit on the floor, sit as tall as you possibly can, legs straight out in front of you or widened if you need to for comfortability, and you're going to simply raise one leg straight up off the ground as far as you can. This is activating your hip flexor in a shortened position, which requires more control and more strength. This is also working your joint in a closed or restricted position, which also works your joint to a greater degree. And this is going to provide better hip stimulus in both the muscle and the joint. This is very tough and you might start cramping up and saying, "Oh, Grant, why did I try that exercise?" But it's just because you are not used to it. So start low with this movement. Do not go crazy with the reps. Ease into it and you will notice over time you get better and better and better at it. And you will notice your hip flexors are staying loose for longer and are not tightening up and causing your low back to tighten up either. So combine the first hip mobilization that I showed you with these 3 hip flexor strengthening movements, and they become a weapon of mass destruction for back pain that is coming from hip related issues or for hip flexor tightness and pain. And as always, if you want to dive deeper with me and actually get a structured plan for your back or sciatica issues, I have something for you. Click the link in the description to get a tailored plan to help you fix your pain for life following our centralization process. This could be the solution you've been looking for. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, join my private Facebook group, RehabFix Low Back Program, for more content, resources, and free guides. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you at the next one.